The Circle of Life, theme song to Disney's The Lion King, and something I'm expressly forbidden from singing during this presentation. Your loss. However, it is a simple concept that explains how most of the animals we're familiar with live their lives. You're born, you grow up, you make more of yourself, and you die. However, quickly it's more complicated from there, as each species has their own path to follow. Figuring out how the circle works for any individual species is critical for understanding it, and that's what I intend to do for bonefish. Bonefish, seen here, live in shallow coastal waters in the tropics. Bonefish have been popular among recreational anglers in the Florida Keys for decades because of their fighting strength and long runs when hooked up. These anglers were among the first to notice when the populations in the Keys began declining, so they started asking questions. They didn't get a lot of answers, so they started funding research to learn more about their favorite fish. Thanks to their efforts, we've learned more about bonefish today, like their larval stage lasts from 41 to 71 days, juveniles like to grow up in shallow protected bays, and we know where the adults gather in the thousands during full moons to spawn at depths of over 50 meters. However, despite these advances, questions still remain. My research is looking to answer some of those questions by spawning bonefish in captivity. Currently, there are 34 bonefish in the tanks at Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute. By controlling the length of light and temperature, important seasonal cues, I can tell the bonefish roughly what time of year it is. So I keep them happy and well fed until winter and spring, which is when they normally spawn. Then I turn the lights off, put some berry white on, and wait for the magic to happen. If that romantic evening is not quite enough to get it done, I can use fish hormones to try and help spice things up a little bit. Unfortunately, my attempts so far have been unsuccessful, but I have high hopes for the upcoming spawning season. Successfully spawning bonefish, an important achievement in its own right, also opens the door for future research into other life stages. For example, describing egg and larval development, which I also hope to achieve. This information will provide important reference for future spawning and rearing efforts. Ultimately, I hope that my research will help us spawn bonefish and raise them up into juveniles. Having this capability would be an important tool for fisheries managers for stock enhancement. Bonefish remain an important part of the culture and economy in the Florida Keys. Protecting bonefish protects this legacy, but also the habitats that they live in. While I regret that my research doesn't answer all the questions about bonefish that we still have, I hope the questions that it does answer help make the life cycle a little clearer. Until then, the circle of life moves on. Thank you.